Last week, I took one of my podcasts. I did this podcast about Apple's packaging, the amazing marketing strategy behind Apple's packaging. And I made a podcast about that. And then afterwards, I talked about how Steve Jobs had the greatest comeback story with Apple. That is a great episode. That's episode 485 of this show. And then afterwards, after I recorded that, the next day, I took that podcast and I quickly edited it into this 1-minute video that has since got 4 million views. And if you are listening and not watching, that's okay. I'm going to describe it before I play it. It's ASMR sounds of Apple packaging with me speaking over it. And my speaking was taken from the podcast. This is the video. Apple spent millions designing boxes you'll throw away. Microsoft laughed at them. The experience starts before you touch the product. It begins the moment you see the box. Jobs said, the box is the first moment of truth. It's when you begin to communicate what the product is about. Most CEOs, they would call this wasteful, but Steve Jobs saw something deeper. Packaging could create an emotional connection. Their design principles were meticulous. Perfect box edges, layered product reveal, premium materials only, precise opening experience. The team spent weeks testing different papers, boxes, and textures. How each component was revealed. Every element was intentional. The impact was revolutionary. Unboxing became a cultural phenomenon. Competitors started investing in packaging. Apple invests millions in this experience. Why? Because Jobs believed excellence is in the details. Details matter, even the ones customers throw away. Your product isn't just what you're selling, it's every single moment of the customer experience. As Jobs said, the back of the fence is just as important as the front. Most founders focus on the product. Great founders obsess over the entire experience. Remember, excellence isn't expensive, it's attention to detail. That's the difference between good and insanely great. We are at such a crazy, exciting time if you are good at copywriting. This was a realization that I had. I went to film school. When I learned to edit video, you edit it in the timeline. For years afterwards, you also edit it in the timeline. I make this entire podcast in Descript. I've been making compact keywords, my SEO program. In Descript, it's pretty much done, compactkeywords.com. I make all of my daily videos in Descript. And the way that this tool works, it has all these AI features to make your voice sound good, to regenerate text if you say the wrong thing, which I do all the time, to make transitions that don't flow. If you have a cut that just doesn't flow with your speaking, you can regenerate the voice to make it flow. But the main way that it works, because I'm describing the features, not the crazy benefit. The main benefit is that everything that you say is transcribed. And instead of editing in the timeline, like a classic video editor, you edit with the transcript. And so what I did for that video that you just watched or listened to that got 4 million views is I looked at the transcript for my podcast and I said, how can I make this an engaging script for a 1-minute video? So I started with the hook. I know that hooks that are negative tend to perform better. So I found the line in my podcast, Apple spent millions designing boxes you'll throw away. That is a negative hook. It has Apple, a super familiar brand. I also noticed that familiar subject matter gets people to care about the video. If you have familiar subject matter in your hook, people know it. And so naturally, they're going to care about it more. Negative subject matter as well. It just does something to the brain so that people pay attention more. Now, I don't like putting out negative content. So if I start with a negative hook, I will try to spin the video to be positive. And that's what I did with this video. But what's cool is I was able to find that hook by just reading the transcript of my podcast. And I put it together line by line, just moving around different lines in my podcast to make this video. And this isn't the first time that I've done this either. I've gotten millions and millions of views doing this with several episodes of my podcast. So if you're a good copywriter, the most important thing is a hook. I'm pretty certain that every podcast has a good hook in it. Somewhere just buried within the text, there is a good hook. If you are speaking about something at length, there's a great chance there is a good hook buried in that text. So you can look through the transcript of a podcast. You take the podcast, you upload it to Descript. I'm assuming it has video. You look through it, you find that hook, and you basically put the whole video together just using different lines from the podcast. And if you're good at copywriting, lots of people who listen to the show are good at copywriting, you can do that. And then you just find different images for each line within the podcast, and you can reuse images, or you can take just entire videos from YouTube, which I often do, and then have those in a different section within the video, like with the video that you just saw. If you were listening, on the top half of the video is different unboxing footage for Apple products, and on the bottom half is me speaking, which is video from the podcast. I think eventually AI tools will be able to do this, but they're not there yet. I've tried a lot of these AI tools. I just haven't found them. I found them to be really terrible, to be honest. Something else that I want to add that I noticed that's really cool is even if the video quality isn't great or the audio quality isn't great, you can still do this. You can actually just go on a rant for 10 minutes and then have it all transcribed and get in the flow of speaking. Go on a rant for 10 minutes and just try to make a good script for a short form video out of that. The thing about videos is it's the subject matter that matters the most. Are you talking about an interesting topic? Do you have a good hook that sucks people in? With talking videos, the types of videos that I make where I'm talking about stuff, the quality of the video or the quality of the audio matters so little. And I talk about this all the time, this was one of my first really big viral videos, and I made the biggest video in the world on the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. It was something that was trending. Lots of people cared about it.
Somebody on Twitter just asked Bing's AI to explain the Silicon Valley Bank collapse in monkey banana terms, and I'm going to read that response to you. Here's the response. Here I go. Me try to explain. Silicon Valley Bank like big tree with many bananas. Many monkeys like bananas and put their bananas in tree. Tree promised to give more bananas to monkeys later, but tree bad. Tree lose many bananas in storm. Tree not have enough bananas for all monkeys. Monkeys get scared and want their bananas back. Many monkeys run to tree and grab their bananas, but some monkeys too late. No more bananas in tree. Monkeys sad and angry. Big monkey come and take tree over. Big monkey say he will find more bananas for monkeys who lost their bananas. Big monkey gives some bananas to some monkeys now and more later, but some monkeys have to wait long time for their bananas. Other trees see what happened to big tree and get worried. Other trees have many bananas too, but not lose them in storm. Other trees hope their monkeys not run away with their bananas too. Me hope you understand now. The big tree is Silicon Valley Bank. The bananas are the money. The monkeys are the depositors doing a bank run. The big monkey is the government. The other trees are the regional banks. That was literally generated by the Microsoft Bing AI, and I think its comprehension of this disaster is actually kind of impressive.
I made that with the selfie camera of an iPhone 8. Back when everyone was using iPhone 12s and 13s and 14s, I had an iPhone 8. I had just started making videos. I didn't know if I was going to keep making videos. I was fine with my iPhone 8 because I didn't really take that many pictures. And I was also editing in the TikTok app. I shot on the selfie camera of an iPhone 8. The quality looked like a potato. It was like I was shooting on a potato. But everyone cared about the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. It was what everyone was talking about. And if people didn't know what it meant, they were curious about it. It was really trending. It was during the weekend of the collapse. And I found a very viral post on Twitter about it. I think it was still Twitter. It hadn't rebranded to X. And I just read that viral post on Twitter. And I read that. I literally read that exactly as my video. And it got 10 plus million views. I think it was 4 or 5 million on TikTok and then millions more on other platforms. In fact, the viral post on Twitter, my video got way more views than the viral post. And it was just me talking, only talking. There was no extra video or images on it. I wasn't even green screened. It was literally just me talking. But what I was saying was so engaging. Oh, the only thing I had captions. Captions help. You always want to have captions. But what I was saying was so interesting that it went viral. People paid attention. I said on yesterday's episode, it's a pretty bad practice to only have talking videos where all you're doing is talking. But if the talking is relevant, if it's super relevant to what people are saying and you're a good speaker and you have captions, it can still work. There are people who do it. Lots of people who do it. In fact, Jefferson Fisher, it's this lawyer in the South in the United States, and he just gives advice on how to deal with difficult people or difficult relationships. He has 5.7 million followers on Instagram, 1.2 million followers on TikTok, routinely gets millions of views on every video he posts, Jefferson_Fisher, and it's just him speaking. That's so cool. So cool what he does. But he is saying something that is super relevant to everybody, and it's advice on how to have better relationships, or how to deal with difficult people, or how to have hard conversations. And also, he has negative hooks. Every one of his videos is a negative hook because it's trouble that someone is having in their life. I'm going to tell you a hook from one of his videos that did well. This is from just a few days ago. What to say to someone who's grieving. That's a negative hook. Grieving is negative. That's a negative hook. Here's another. This one has 425,000 views. How to disagree without fighting. Negative hook. It's a bit positive, but also negative. How to disagree without fighting. Here's another one, 288,000. How to respond to an insult. Negative hooks. He starts all of his videos with negative hooks, then spins them positive, turns them positive, gives positive advice. And it's things that people care about. And that one, it's just him speaking. Theoretically, actually, you could literally just take a podcast and not even add images or videos. And if it's really interesting, people are going to pay attention. Oh my God, this is crazy what you could do too. You could even, if you're a good speaker, if you're just a naturally great speaker, this is a cool idea. I'm going to make another episode about just this idea. I'll do that later on. Copywriters are very cheap. Copywriters are very inexpensive. Freelance copywriters are very inexpensive. You can literally just pay for Descript yourself. Give a freelance copywriter, someone who has a history of writing good posts on X, give a freelance copywriter access to your Descript and then say to them, I want you to go through this transcript and edit this into a 1-minute video. And they're just going to pull out different lines from the transcript like they were editing a Word document and just move things around, cut basically everything out, 99.9% of the text out so that it's just 1 minute left, and trying to make just an engaging script. And if it's engaging to read, it's most likely, unless the speaker is really, really bad, which if the person has a podcast, the person is most likely not a really bad speaker. If the script, if it's engaging to read, it will also probably be engaging to watch. Because like I said, when I find a viral post on X or Threads or wherever, a viral written post, and I just read that post, a lot of the times that video goes viral of me reading the post. So you can literally find a cheap freelance copywriter to go through the transcript of your podcasts and repurpose them into videos of you just speaking. They don't even need to add in images or video. I did it, and it helps for retention. But as Jefferson Fisher exemplifies, if the hook is good enough and the subject matter is relevant enough, lots of people are going to watch anyway. It could get hundreds of thousands or millions of views anyway. So cool. That's what I wanted to share with you on this episode of the show. Just me taking something from this podcast, very quickly, very easily turning it into a video that did well, got millions of views. And you can do it too. If you are making podcasts or you're considering making a podcast, you can do it too. And you can take your podcast, and that's how you take your podcast and you turn it into short form videos that are good. You focus on having an engaging thing to read first. I think a lot of the times people take podcasts and turn them into short form videos, and it doesn't work because they're using AI tools, which do a really bad job, or they just don't know how to write engaging copy in the first place. But if you know how to write engaging copy and you're making a podcast, you can probably take that podcast, post clips of it that are edited like this, where you're pulling things. Oh, something else that people do is they will take the podcast and edit it in chronological order, when you will actually need to move lots of stuff around to just make it an engaging script. So it shouldn't actually play, the 1 minute video shouldn't play in chronological order. You should be taking maybe a clip from the end and moving it to the beginning because that's where the hook is. And then the subject matter comes after that. And if you want to post, I have a guide on my website, my exact social media posting strategy. Thing about posting on TikTok or Instagram Reels, especially Instagram, especially meta properties, is they all have different rules for posting. So for example, if you post on meta properties using a shared IP address, one that's like really heavily shared with a third-party automation, for example, Meta hates third-party automations, and videos will get totally suppressed in reach if you are using a third-party automation to post. The best way to post is to post manually through the Instagram app. Same with TikTok, post manually through the TikTok app. Same with YouTube Shorts, post manually onto YouTube Shorts with the YouTube app. Snapchat, I don't think it matters. LinkedIn, I haven't found it to matter posting manually, so I post automatically. I have all of this explained in this article on my site, edwardstrom.com/articles/social-media-posting-strategy. But I'm hyped about this. You can literally record a podcast and then outsource the video, turning that into a short form mobile video by outsourcing it to a good copywriter. That is so cool because it's just about how good it is to read. And then I'm assuming that if someone has a podcast, they're a good speaker. So the speaking should be good anyway. It's a cool concept. That's what I wanted to share with you today. That's what is getting me hyped. And this is episode 492 of my daily digital marketing podcast. I do this every day, 7 days a week. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Hope to see some people try this. I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.